Great work finishing your review guide for our first test this year. Completing your review guide is always going to be the best way to study for a test in this class. So now as you're correcting your review guide, a couple things. First off, place any stars on a question that is correct as you're working through this. Circle a problem that's incorrect and fix your mistakes. And remember, you don't need to put a score on the top. Instead, just put one sentence about how the practice went for you. So here we go, our 4 targets. We'll start with target number 1, solving multi-step equations. So as we solve this first problem here, we're going to start by combining like terms. So we have 5y and negative 2y on this left-hand side, which will give us 3y's plus 13. And on the right-hand side, 20 take away 17 gives us 3 plus y. So next we want to get our y's together. We'll go ahead and subtract y from both sides, leaving us with 2y plus 13 equals 3. To get y by itself, we'll go ahead and subtract 13 from both sides, leaving us with 2y equals negative 10. Divide by 2, and we'll get y equals negative 5 for this first problem. Problem number 2, starting by distributing through our parentheses. So we'll have negative 2g minus 12. And this is kind of like a negative 1 going through the parentheses. So we'll have negative g minus 1 plus 1. Now from here, we can simplify on that right-hand side. We'll have negative 2g minus 12 equals negative g. Negative 1 get 1 bigger is 0. Next, I'll go ahead and add 2 g's to both sides, leaving us on the left-hand side with negative 12, and on the right-hand side, negative g get 2 bigger, just leaves us with 1g. So we get g equals negative 12. And our last problem here for this learning target. LA Fitness charges a one-time fee of $25 and then $27 per month. The local gym charges no initial fee, but charges $32 a month. And we want to know when these are equal. So again, looking for that word per to talk about where our variable is going to be as we set this up. So when we solve this, we're going to subtract 27x's from both sides, leaving us with 25 equals 5x. Divide by 5, and we'll get x equals 5. And this stands for, it's going to take 5 months for these 2 membership options to be equal. All right, target number 2 is our literal equations. So we're trying to rearrange for a certain variable. So for this first problem here, we have, we're solving for a. So I'm going to circle a, and we'll see here we have a times b times c in the way of a being by itself. So to get rid of times bc, we need to divide by bc, leaving us with a equals 123 divided by b C. And a is by itself, so we all know we're done. Next problem here, we're solving for x. So first thing we need to do is get rid of a plus 6 by minusing 6 on both sides, leaving us with y minus 6 equals 2x. Next, to get rid of a times 2, we'll divide by 2. So we could have the answer of x equals y minus 6 over 2. We could also divide both parts here, and we could get y over 2, or 1/2 y, minus 3, which would be if we divided 6 by 2. So a couple different answers for this one. In my third one, we're trying to get b by itself, so inside those parentheses. So we're going to start by getting rid of that times a by dividing by a, leaving us with b minus 3 equals 9 divided by a. Next, we can drop these parentheses because they're no longer being multiplied on the outside. So now we can get rid of this minus 3 by adding 3 to both sides, leaving us with b equals 9 divided by a plus 3. Now, even if you did this problem a different way, you should end up with this same answer. All right, target number 3, we are solving inequalities. So watching out for any type of red flag problems here. So this first one, we're going to go ahead and subtract 9 from both sides, leaving us with 12 is bigger than negative 3x. To get rid of times negative 3, we'll divide by negative 3 on both sides. And there we are, the red flag. We need to flip the sign. 12 divided by negative 3 is negative 4. So since we divided by a negative here, we have to flip that sign. So let's write this with our variable on the left. Notice the sign is opening up towards my x, so even when I write my x the other way, I still need my sign facing that direction. All right, next one here, we have some parentheses. So let's go ahead and distribute this negative, giving us negative 3p plus p, negative 3 plus p. And on the right-hand side, same thing, 5p plus 5. So we'll start by getting our p's together by subtracting p on both sides, leaving us with negative 3 is bigger than 6p plus 5. (4p). 5p take away 1p is 4p. So now we need to subtract 5 from both sides. And I'm going to move my work down below here. So negative 3 get 5 smaller is negative 8. And then we have 4 p's left. Divide by 4, divide by 4. And we'll get p is smaller than negative 2. Again, we don't have to flip that sign this time because we're dividing by a positive. So I'm going to write p on the left, noticing my sign. The smaller side is towards my p. So here's my inequality, and this one we also need to graph. So we have negative 2, a number bigger is negative 1, smaller negative 3, open dot on negative 2. And this reads p is smaller than negative 2. So we're going to the left. All right, our level 3 problem for this one. We have Nora wants to get a summer job. She has a few options. She could babysit, and she would get $10 for gas and then $15 per hour. Mowing, $24 for gas and then $8 per hour. She's planning to work 4 hours per day, so we want to know what the better option is. So again, we can go ahead and wherever we see our variable, we can go ahead and plug in 4 to figure out what the better option would be for Nora here. So when we do 15 times 4 plus 10, we're going to get 70. And when we do 8 times 4 plus 24, we get 56. So now we have to think, she's trying to make the most money she can. So babysitting will be her better option because for babysitting, she makes $70. And for lawn mowing, she makes 56. All right, last target here, compound inequalities. So the first one here, we have a restaurant is giving free ice cream sundaes to anybody over 65 and under 5. So over 65 would be going towards my bigger numbers. Under 5 would be going towards my smaller numbers. And we're not including those values. So to write a compound inequality to describe this picture, we'd have x is smaller than 5 or x is bigger than 65. This is an or example. Next one, we have another or here. Let's go ahead and subtract 15, leaving us with 7x is less than negative 14. Divide by 7 on both sides, leaving us with x is less than negative 2. Or subtract 4 from both sides, x is bigger than or equal to positive 2. So here's our inequality. Now we got a graph. So negative 2, we're going to have an open circle. Positive 2 will have a closed circle. or we are facing away. And last problem. We're going to start by subtracting 1 from all 3 sides, leaving us with -1, 2x in the middle, 12 on the right. Next, we'll divide by 2 all 3 places. So on the left, we're left with -1/2 x and 6. So as we graph this, -1/2 is going to be in between 0 and -1, and we have a closed dot. Open dot on +6, and this is an and, so we're connecting in between these 2 points. As you flip to the back of your review packet here, your last page, you're going to see a little bit of a reflection called the test readiness. So I ask you to go through each of these targets, maybe based upon how this correcting went for you, and give me just a brief reflection. For target number 1, if we gave ourselves a 4, we would feel like an expert at this skill. Literal equations, we gave a 1, we would feel like we don't have any idea what's going on with this skill. So give me a quick reflection here, 1 through 4. And then there's 3 questions to answer. I'd like you to give at least 1 sentence to each of these questions as you reflect. Then you've starred any correct problems, you've circled and fixed any incorrect problems. Give me 1 sentence on the top of your packet on the front, letting me know how this review went for you. And then you are going to turn this review sheet in. If you're in class today, you'll turn it in today. If you're in class this week, next time you're in, you will turn this in. Great work, you guys.